So this video is like really random, but I really wanted to talk and yap about this really crazy interaction that I had recently while I was at work. So, I work at think of like a bar, little upscale, that also has food. And I'm one of the cooks in the kitchen. So, I'm cooking food, running food out, pretty simple stuff. So, on this particular day, it was pretty slow. It was really, really slow. It was pretty dead throughout most of our shift. But, it's got a little colder here, so people started kind of coming in just to warm up, So, it was at this time, the restaurant's empty. I go up and I'm just up there talking with my coworker. We're gonna name her Ruby for the sake of this video. And Ruby's about early, mid-40s, I think, give or take. I don't want to be wrong on guessing people's ages. I suck at it. So, I really apologize if I got that wrong. Not that I think she's seeing this, but, So, I was up there, we're just talking, school, work, all that stuff. So, as we're talking, this lady comes in, so I'm like, hey, how you doing, ma'am? Everything going great? And she mentions that it's cold outside. We're like, oh yeah, I know, it's crazy how fast the weather changed. So, so she's talking for a sec, and she mentions how her boyfriend, or this guy that she was with, took the keys, rolled down their car window, and left her in the car. So we're like, oh, okay, that's not good. Have you tried to call the cops or something? She says, no, and then mentions that she's on something. She doesn't know what she's on. This being drugs. Don't take drugs. Drugs are not good. Also by a doctor. Take drugs. Do not take drugs from random people. I'm just putting that out there. Don't take them. But, anyways, so she mentions that she's on something. She does not know what. And we're like, oh, okay. So then she goes, it's so crazy out there. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's insane. Now I'm thinking, there's two ways this can go. She is talking about the weather, because it is cold, so she just might be repeating voice lines, Or she is referring to the political climate, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of the way that people say when it's crazy out. That's also an option. So I feel like it's one of the, I was kind of thinking it was one of those two, Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, there was a third, unknown option, unbeknownst to me, that she chose. She goes, yeah, the bodies are piling up outside. It's at this point that I have to just stop. I take a minute to reassess. I take a look outside the window, because maybe there's something I didn't see. Maybe there actually are bodies piling up outside and I should be worried. So I look back, there's no bodies. So, it's at this point I'm thinking, okay, maybe these drugs are kind of kicking into overdrive here. So we're like, oh, yeah, okay. This lady then starts talking about how I'm not exaggerating any of this, I promise. I'm not, and I wish I was. She goes, yeah, the government is pulling people off the streets and hooking them up to VR goggles where they can change their weight and their size. It's at this point, I'm slightly starting to laugh. And I don't want to laugh because I don't know what she's on, and I do not want to set her off. Right? I feel like that's a pretty normal, control measure. I don't want to, escalate the situation. I'm trying to de-escalate here. So I look at the TV that we have up on our wall to distract myself, and it's playing Barney the Dinosaur. That's not too helpful in this moment. So I decide I take the next best option. I just stare at the hardwood floor. So I'm looking at the floor, wishing I could be buried deep into it right now. Unfortunately, the universe was not that kind to me. Because the next words out of her mouth were, yeah, they're hooking people up to these VR goggles, and then hooking them up to feeding tubes. Now, for those of us just tuning in, feeding tubes. The government now is taking people from the streets, putting them into VR goggles, and hooking them up to feeding tubes. So, You know, it's at this point that I start to think, I'm going to start laughing now. So then she mentions her backstory as to how she got here to our restaurant. How she was outside of a store playing drums. And this guy comes up and asks if she wants to get into his car. Because he was in a fight with his girlfriend. He thought this girl was cute playing drums outside of this store. And that he should come with her. Or she should come with him. Apparently she takes that offer. She ends up at our restaurant, locked in a car with the windows rolled down. Then she gets out of the car and ends up at our restaurant. As much as I was trying to control myself, I look over at my coworker, Ruby. She has the biggest what the fuck face I have ever seen in my life. It's at this point that I was starting to laugh, so I had to make the executive decision to leave the situation. I walked to the back end of the restaurant where I still have eyes on Ruby and this random lady, so that I could go over and help her if, this lady went off the rails, because clearly she was off the rails. So, after I get myself under control, I start walking over and the lady leaves. Finally. So, I go back and I'm like, hey, you good? Like, you don't know her, do you? And Ruby's like, no, I've never seen this woman in my life. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes this 10 times weirder, because I thought you might have known her because she just went into this tirade, and I thought maybe it was a joke. It was not a joke. Pretty weird interaction, okay? And now let's play devil's advocate here. Maybe she took so many drugs that she broke the third wall. maybe she broke the third wall, opened her third eye. Oh no, she broke the fourth wall, opened her third eye, and maybe right now you and we're talking. I might not even be real. Maybe, as far as you're concerned, I'm right next to you right now, strapped into a VR headset with VR goggles. This isn't even real, and both of us are hooked up to feeding tubes. With that information, I hope you guys enjoyed this story.